Welcome to For Book Lovers Only Television, your source for in-depth author interviews. For Book Lovers Only Television is a proud member of the Village Connector Media Network. If you love books, we have a home for you. Now time for your host and chief book lover, Rob Brown.
Hello and welcome to For Book Lovers Only TV, where if you love books, we have a home for you. My name is Rob Brown, your internet TV host and chief book lover. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today's guest author, Grace Allison, is an award-winning self-help and motivational author and podcast host who has assisted thousands to find their spiritual wisdom to solve everyday challenges. Her book, Do You Have a Dream Workbook? 5 Keys to Realize Your Dream, reveals connected spiritual and psychological keys to understand change, redefine change so it doesn't have to be distressing, use situations of change to propel you forward instead of hold you back, and empower yourself no matter what life throws at you. Grace, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rob. It's good to be here.
So I want to talk to you first about you being a modern mystic. Tell us, why do you call yourself a modern mystic?
Well, being a modern mystic means that I experience the joy and love of God in an intuitive and imaginative way. I feel connected, somewhat like St. Teresa of Avila did, or some of the other people of the past who have had experiences of God, like healing, for example. And so I consider myself a mystic because you can't really see it, but you can feel it. It's an experience of God beyond the physical.
That's very interesting. Do you know of any other mystics?
In this lifetime, I don't know, but St. Teresa of Avila comes up. Jesus was a mystic. Moses was a mystic. If you think of the people in the Bible who brought forward words of God that seemed to connect with people that felt transcendent, those are the kinds of mystics that I'm talking about. In our daily life, we think of mystics as being in astrology or in the tarot. I'm not that kind of mystic. Those are from the magnetic light. The light I'm talking about is the Holy Spirit. It's the mystical part of the Holy Spirit that we all have the ability to connect to. It's a matter of finding a way through training, going inside into your intuitive, creative heart, that you find this connection. Anybody can find it.
I see. Now, this book is the second book. You wrote a book called A Dream is a Wish That the Heart Makes.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that book.
Well, that book came to me right after 9/11. I was working at a real estate company and I just won the Dallas Business Journal Award. I mean, that's big, but that's big in the real estate industry. And I was ready to go on to this career, and 9/11 happened. And so I was laid off. And I was praying and I said, what am I supposed to do now? And I heard this voice say, write your book. And I said, book? What book? And I'd been working on a healing process since I had cervical cancer in 1990, a way of retraining your mind into a healing intention. Because I found that people who are sick, chronically sick, and I was, needed to change how they saw the world. And so I began to do this process of intention of I am now well. And whenever you make an intention, it's like a goal, and you're going to find a resistance to that goal. So I was working on a method to uncover the hidden parts of myself that were holding me back. And I found some pretty interesting keys that are in my book about, are you worthy? And I felt, no. So I was going through this clearing process of what is hidden underneath the intention of what I wanted. And so I had created this over about a 10-year period. And I was working with other people, just as like in a workshop kind of way. And I came up with the process. So I started writing this book in 2000, and I hired a coach to help me organize the book. And it took me, it was only 88 pages, the first book. It took me 2 years to write 88 pages. And since then, it's morphed, like 18 years later, it's morphed into a workbook. And I added 140 tweets that are now part of the book. So it's changed over time as I have changed and I have integrated more.
Wow, it took you that long to write 88 pages. It must have been a very, I guess, soul-searching experience. Obviously, it was a phenomenal book because it won an award. And Do You Have a Dream Workbook has won
Yes.
awards too. It seems like every time you write something, it wins an award. Why'd you write the second book?
I wrote the second book because I wanted to reach out to a larger audience and I wanted to make it available for a workshop so that you not only could experience it by yourself, but you could also experience it in a workshop. And it's 10 chapters. And with each chapter, there's a little tweet and a little place. It's a journal where you can add your comments in within the chapter. So you actually experience yourself going through a change before you get to the process, which is in the back of the book, the 5 keys to change your life.
So it's almost like a self-healing process through the
Yes,
book.
yes, it is. Yes. And I want to make note that the book has been endorsed by a psychiatrist who teaches at Texas Tech University, Dr. Richard Weddigy. He has endorsed the book to assist people through change and to uncover their hidden parts of who they are in a really positive, joyful way. Because I do talk about forgiveness in the book and loving and taking care of yourself. So he has endorsed the book, and I'm really grateful for that.
Well, I want to dive right into the book because there's a lot of jewels of wisdom in this book that I know you want to share. Now, you have one of your chapters is titled Emotions, Energy, and Motion, and you discuss in there people who live their lives allowing their mind and emotions to run their lives are like ships on the ocean without a mast or rudder. They are subject to the prevailing winds, thought, and water emotion of the moment. Expound on that a little bit more.
Well, I think we can see it in social media today, where there's just a lot of people dumping their feelings everywhere, and people reacting to everything that's going on personally. So there's no sense of honor about and respect with one another. And I feel we need to find a way to respect each other's points of view and honor the person who is expressing themselves, and really listen to people from a heartfelt place rather than reacting, and also reacting to your life situations. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in our lives today that creates change, and we don't have to react to it in drugs and alcohol and outward negative behavior and and talking to people in a bad way. We have to actually monitor how we feel.
Right.
And if if there's something going on in your life and you're not really able to contain yourself in terms of how you feel, then maybe you should talk to someone, talk to a friend or a professional about what's going on in your life that makes your mind and your emotions so upsetting. I did a lot of retraining in my life. I came from a very dysfunctional family. So this book, it comes out of my psychological training as well as my spiritual training. And I've combined it so that people who are experiencing darkness don't have to.
Well, I wanna ask you. I've had other guests on the show, and we've discussed some of the dangers of social media. Tell us a little bit more about that. How we would like to think that social media is 100% a good thing and that people should use it for good, but we sometimes see that social media can, in many instances, bring out the worst in us. How can your book help someone kind of deal with that, particularly with social media, with a lot of the bullying that we're seeing through Facebook, Instagram, things of that nature? Tell us how your book can help.
Well, I think my book can help because I think people are spending too much time on social media. They're not taking care of themselves. And my book goes into priorities. What are you doing in your life that where you're taking care of yourself? Are you eating properly? Are you getting your rest? Are you seeing family? Are you connecting with people, actually talking to them? Because social media with people are just in that small world on their screen, and they're not interacting with people on a daily basis, communicating like you and I are right now. We've lost the social communication of talking to one another, talking on the phone, you know, writing a letter, really connecting with people in a interactive way, not just social media. And I think social media makes people anonymous, where they think they can get away with their behavior, but it really comes back on them, where this negativity just continues to build within themselves, and then they have to deal with all this negativity that they're creating for themselves. So they need to slow down and reprioritize their lives, where they're out in the world doing something other than being on their screen. Social media is fun. I love Facebook. I love Twitter. I'm on all of it, but at small bits at a time, in a small interactive way, not a way of life.
Yeah, it definitely can be something that can be abused if a person's not really guarding themselves. I want to talk about another lesson that you teach in your book, that we are responsible for our own attitudes, for they exist inside our property line, our Garden of Eden. Tell us a little bit more about what our Garden of Eden is.
The Garden of Eden is that creative space inside of you, where I think God lives, or that place of peace, whatever you think peace is. And we need to have a place of loving peace in our lives that protects us. And I call forward a loving peace and grace every day to help me interact with other people and with my life. Because we have a lot going on in this technology world. It goes too fast. So you need to retreat to a place where you think is a nice place that you may have visited. Maybe you've gone on vacation to a place in like, I love Hawaii, or somewhere that in the mountains that gives you peace, and just feel that place so that you can begin your day in a quiet, centered place, because the world's going to keep trying to pull you away from that. And I think we need to create boundaries where we see this place inside of us and we honor that, and we can see that in other people.
And the Garden of Eden that you talk about, is this something that we all have a Garden of Eden? Is there a process for us to find our personal Garden of Eden?
Yes, there is. Um, I, there's a 2-minute meditation that you can call and that you can ask me to send you, or you can just simply call yourself forward to God's light by saying, please, God, I just ask this garden, this place inside of me to be present. And you can call it forward to yourself just by asking for it, and it will be present.
Now, there are a lot of people who are watching this broadcast, maybe even listening, who struggle with change. I think that's something that, we don't like to admit, but a lot of us are struggling with change. How can a person struggle, kind of win the struggle when it comes to change, and how does your book help that?
Well, change doesn't have to be scary, but I think people get caught up in it because our brains are hardwired for habits. And so we get in the habit of doing something the same way all the time. We've had this job for many years, and maybe we're having a problem, or what we want is not, we can't change, we just are stuck. And when you get stuck like that, you have to ask yourself, if I didn't have this feeling inside, what would I want instead? So you have to ask, so this change is going on inside of me. What do I want instead? And so that will trigger something in your unconscious to bring up. Well, perhaps you need to go find someone to help you with this change, perhaps a professional. But if you want to go through a change, you have to ask yourself, now, if this change is going on, maybe I need to find another job. It comes back to the person themselves. The change that's happening is for a reason. The door is closing for you to have another opportunity. So if you had another opportunity, what would it be? And you have to ask yourself that question. And it's about personal development inside. I know when I lost my job, I was homeless, jobless, and penniless. And I wrote down all the things that I wanted in this new job. And I went through the clearing process, which is in the book. Now, am I worthy to have this? Am I permitted to have this? So there are several ways in which you can go through this clearing process in my book that helps you redirect your energy into a positive direction. And you can make it easy, pleasurable, safe, and fun. Who made the rule that change had to be hard, that it was so scary? But in the book, it tells you how you can make it easy, pleasurable, safe, and fun.
What? Once again, this book is an extremely important book, particularly just for that. I mean, if you can help people just to deal with change and understand that change doesn't necessarily have to be a scary thing. So for your Dream Workbook, what's the most important lesson that a reader would get from this book?
The most important lesson is that you are in charge, and that if you take this book and go through its various steps of actually taking a look at what are your priorities in your life, what are your boundaries, who are the people that are supporting you, what is your community like, and what is it that you really want? Do you have a dream? I mean, I wanted to write a novel. You know, I've written a novel. How could I do that? I mean, I never knew how to write a novel. I never knew how to write a book. But I kept asking myself in a positive way, I want to receive the way to change. And when you start clearing the unconscious of all the stuff that's in the way, your dream will come to you. The world is to be received, not conquered. And you don't push your way through it. If you can clear what's in your unconscious and what's in the way, your dreams will come to you. I know I've had that happen to me and many of the people that I've assisted. A friend of mine whose husband had passed away and she wanted to marry again. 2 weeks after she did her process with me, she met the man she's been married to now for more than 15 years. So I've been doing this process a long time and helping many people through their change.
That's phenomenal. I mean, this book is just so amazing, and it's not the only amazing book that you've written. You recently wrote a book, Einstein's Compass, that ties in nicely with this. Tell us about Einstein's Compass.
Well, young Albert Einstein was never always famous. People think Albert Einstein, well, he was famous. Well, as a boy, he wasn't famous, but he had a dream. And his dream was about time and light. His father gave him a compass when he was a small boy, and that set him on his journey to learn about what is time and what is light. And all the struggles that he had throughout his life are in that book, Einstein's Compass. And the compass is a spiritual journey. It not only represents the compass itself, but Albert's spiritual journey to discover his spiritual heart and learn what it was to receive his theory, his miracle theory. And the Shamir stone that's in this book actually did exist and is in the compass. The Shamir stone came from, actually built Solomon's temple and also built the pyramids in Egypt, which I think they're now discovering was something more than people moving blocks of this stone. It was actually used, the Shamir stone is a creature from beyond time. And it's in the book, it is in Einstein's Compass, and it's a magical story.
Now, you mentioned just now that the compass represents his spiritual journey. Does that mean that we all basically have our own compass as well?
Absolutely. We all have our spiritual journey through our spiritual heart. It's a matter of turning off your iPhones, social media, and closing your eyes and getting in touch with that heart, that spiritual heart that's within yourself. And it's just simply saying, God, I receive. And God, please help me. And all the mystical travelers in the book that I talk about, Jesus and Moses and Akhenaten and Ezekiel, they're all here. They're all present, and they all want to help you. But you have to ask. And the spiritual journey is within everyone. We're all here for a reason, for a purpose. And the spiritual compass is here for everyone.
Now, do you recommend a book lover read Do You Have a Dream Workbook first and then Einstein's Compass, or vice versa, or does it really matter?
It doesn't matter. The book, Einstein's Compass, I think will enliven your curiosity to perhaps go to the workbook. I know people are more drawn toward novels, which is why I wrote Einstein's Compass, because people learn through story. And if you are on a journey that is where you're experiencing change, then do the Dream Book, because it's really a beautiful way to uncover your purpose. And perhaps if you're stuck having a dream, it will help you get there.
Now, how long after Do You Have a Dream Workbook did you write Einstein's Compass?
The last Dream Book was, I think, in 2017, and I started working on the Einstein's Compass in 2016. So they were kind of one was in the process of the other, because I was discovering how the process and how the compass really was a part of Einstein's Compass, as well as what was in the Dream Book. It was kind of working together about the same time.
I see. And are you going to be following up with another Dream Workbook?
Not right now. I would like to do some workshops with it. I think it's as good as it's going to get for right now. And I think it's in a pretty good form. I was thinking perhaps I might change the cover. There is a song out, I think, Hold On Tight to Your Dream, by ELO. I think I sent you the song.
You did.
And
nice.
So I was thinking maybe I might change the cover to Hold On Tight to Your Dream, because I think it's very important for people today, especially, to get involved in dreaming. I think we've lost touch with that creative part of ourselves. And that song is so inspiring. If you go and listen to it on social media, you'll probably find it on Amazon. Hold On Tight to Your Dream by ELO. It's really exciting. That's the only change I could think I would want to do, but I'm not sure I will.
Now, Grace, why do you think that is, that when it comes to dreaming and having a dream, a lot of times that's somewhat looked down upon? I mean, think about our elementary schools. If you see a child looking out the window dreaming, or what they call daydreaming, he or she is castigated. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the natural inclination when someone says the word dream is a negative connotation?
I think we're too focused on the physical world, on the physical attributes of money and power, and you have to go to college. It's all this linear track that people are on. And actually, our lives aren't linear. If you think about it, things happen to us all the time, and we can't change them. But we can change them in a positive way if we really choose to. It's a matter of responsibility, of responding to what it is that you want to do in your life. And I think we're in a passive culture where we're watching too much television, too many videos, we're passively reading on social media, and we're not actively creating through our imagination and our creativity, which could give us even greater things in our lives. It's just a matter of living in a passive, uncreative world.
That's amazing. That's a wonderful way to look at it and just appreciate, the power of a dream and the importance of having dreams. And I'm sure that our viewers are going to want to learn more about Do You Have a Dream Workbook and also Einstein's Compass. So I'm going to give them your contact information at Twitter, at Grace the Mystic, Facebook, Grace the Mystic, Instagram, Einstein's Compass Novel, Pinterest, Grace the Mystic, and LinkedIn, Grace the Mystic.
And you can find all of my books on Amazon and all the online bookstores, wherever you are. Kobo, could be Barnes & Noble, any of the online bookstores, as well as Amazon.
Great. Well, Grace, thank you so much for stopping by via Zoom. We're so excited to have you here, and we look forward to you coming back again for your next book.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate being here.
The book is Do You Have a Dream Workbook? 5 Keys to Realize Your Dream, available for purchase on forbookloversonly.com. make sure you pick up a copy. For all of our viewers and listeners not yet members of our book club, join us. It's absolutely free. Make sure you sign up so you can enter our contest to win coffee mugs, baseball caps, and other prizes. You can join in one of two ways. Either visit www.forbookloversonly.com or just text the word book to 301-321-8887, and then you'll receive a message with a link. Click on the link, then fill in the form, and then click Sign Me Up, and you're automatically a member. You'll receive a free gift just for joining. Also, be sure to follow us on social media. Facebook, for Book Lovers Only, Twitter, @FBLONLY, and Instagram, @for Book Lovers Only 15. That's all the time we have for today. We want to thank Grace Allison for stopping by. My name is Rob Brown, your Internet TV host and chief book lover, and this is For Book Lovers Only Television, where if you love books, we have a home for you. Take care. I'll see you next time.